Yeah.
See you later.
See ya. Have a good one, mate. See you in a bit. Hey. We've pretty much done a week, as in 6 days paddling. And today, unfortunately, due to the winds, we won't be paddling today. So rest day, good for me, for the body, although I'm actually feeling pretty good. And great for the support crew and me just to chill a little bit and go through a lot of the admin and sort things out. So it's just gone off. Basically, it's been a good week. Going from Torquay to Sennen in the first week was always going to be tough. And I've done it from Sennen to Torquay previously, and you've got all the conditions with you. And as it showed, Torquay to Sennen, as this first sort of stage to get round Land's End, was always going to be tough because the prevailing conditions always seem to fight you. No matter what that wind's doing, it always seems to be in your face. So I'm super proud really to be here after 6 days. 6 days of paddling. I would have liked to have got around Land's End last night, but it just didn't enable me. The wind just didn't enable me to do that. So I've had some really good days, and I'll be honest with you, the toughest day was the first day. Paddling to Brixham normally takes 50 minutes from Torby Sands, and it took 2 hours. And the reality of what was ahead of me really obviously hit in. And I'm glad that that happened in that first day, in those first couple of hours, because it really focused me on what was ahead of me. And it's so about those little chunks and those little goals. And the first goal was to get to Brixham, and I got there. And the second goal was to get out of Devon, and I did it. And the third goal is to get to Land's End, and hopefully we'll do that in the next 24 hours. That's fun.
Yeah, the fisherman just pulled up, and it was the other side of the sound, and proper Jana. So he was like, "Oi, my lover, you alright then, you alright?" I said, yeah, all good, all good. He said, "Where you headed, my lover?" I said, "Torquay." He said, "Hey, boy, you're going the wrong way." I said, "No, it's alright, I'm just going the long way round." And he literally just went, and looked at me. We had a proper laugh about it, but it was just cool. I could use that line on somebody.
So I've had loads of questions sent to me, so I'm just going to run through some of those because I think it sums up some great stuff that's happened this week. Are you wearing a dry suit? Question number one. I have got a dry suit, fantastic dry suit provided by Hammond, and on tough days, wet days, stinky days, I'll be wearing a dry suit. Predominantly this week I've been wearing tights, thermal tights, because it's been windy and it's been chilly, thermal top, a lovely jacket by Showers Pass, and then my Baltic buoyancy. So that's pretty much kept me warm because I've been paddling and active. How many times have you fallen in? So I haven't fallen in yet, and that's not a big I haven't fallen in thing. It's just that I think I fell in thousands of times when I started paddling, and I don't fall in so much now, but it doesn't mean I don't, and I'm sure I will, and I'm sure it'll be that moment, not when I'm out in some gnarly swell, but when I'm coming into a little harbour and there's loads of people watching is when I'll fall in, and it happens, and it's all part of SUP. I'm dressed so that if I fall in, I can cope, and I've got other clothes always carried with me that I can put on. Okay, so the next question I've got here is when you pass in Ilfracombe. And that's a really interesting question. It's awesome that some of you have downloaded our paddle plan that's on the website. And that is just a plan. It's not a prediction, it's not even a goal in a way, it's just an idea. And because there's some days where, yesterday, getting 47, 48 kilometres in was, for me, massive because of the conditions, massive. I almost felt like stopping after 20k. There are other days when all the conditions I had yesterday are reversed and on your back, that, you know, and I've done this before, an 80, 100k day with the wind on your back, downwinding, is totally realistic. So at some stages I'll be behind that paddle plan, and some stages hopefully I'll be ahead of it. So this is why it's really tricky to sort of predict when I'll be coming through. Have a look at the paddle plan. We do try and update it so the dates start to be a bit more realistic as we're going, but it's how long is a piece of string. It really is dependent on the weather and what's going on and all of that. So hopefully you understand that. And that's why often we put out messages for support to stay somewhere, because we've got planned in dates. So we might have had somewhere that somebody said, yeah, absolutely, come and stay in our driveway, there's no problem. And then we're 2 days later and they're not there, or they can't do it then. So that's why we put messages out a little bit ad hoc for support on that. So hopefully you understand that, and you know, just the support, the community we've got around the long paddle means that we've had people answering those please every time. It's getting more windy as we talk. How much wildlife have you seen? Well, do you know what? Not that much so far. I see seals every headland, and it just seems amazing how many seals we seem to have, and they're incredibly curious. You can normally smell them before you can see them. Saw a massive bull seal on the headland from Bigbury, huge thing, a head the size of a dustbin, massive thing. But other than that, you know, fish, I've had a couple of fish just literally swim straight into my board. Both me and them are surprised on that one. And a couple of fins, so whether they're probably basking sharks or something like that, but a couple of fins. So not that much. Well, and the bird life is immense. The bird life is immense. I'm not very good on birds, and there's one particular bird that's short and fat. It looks like a flying pasty, and they fly about 2 or 3 foot off the ground. And I don't think they're very observant, because they fly at you, and then 6 foot from you they realise that there's suddenly a human on a board, and they veer off with such dramatic emergency turns that they often ditch, because and they just look like flying pasties. They don't look like they can fly at all, but I don't know what they're called. Fastest wind speed I can paddle in, 20 or 30 mile an hour is pretty much the tops. In your face, 15 to 20. Yesterday, 15 to 20, gusting more than that. And there was one headland I actually lay on my board and prone paddled around the headland, only for 20 or 30 meters, but I physically couldn't stand on the board. It was that windy. And that's a good skill actually that all paddleboarders should know and understand, how to lie down on the board and prone paddle, because even in the most, you know, tragic conditions, lying prone on your board, it's amazing what you can get away with and still paddle and still move and still be safe on a board. Obviously if you've got 20 or 30 on your back, you're flying. And I had a great session across Start Bay where I was downwinding for 10k, and that was just immense. On a board, steady wind is best. When it's gusting, even on your back, it can blow you off your board if it's 25, 30 miles an hour. And today where it's up to 50, it's just a no-go and just not safe to be on a board. So there's some questions. Sorry I haven't got through them all. Be cool if for next week, because we're trying to do this sort of once a week, if you've got any questions specific to the area that I'm passed through, or just about what we're doing and the support crew and the vans and all the rest of it, please throw them our way and I'll try and answer them. Really appreciate the support, really appreciate the love on social media. The app is a big thing for me, and some of you ask about my motivation, or, you know, 6 hours into a paddle, I'm thinking about the app. So I'm seeing things and thinking, right, well, that could be a great game to put in the app. And these apps cost so much money. So, you know, if you've got a business if you've got an ability to be able to sponsor the long paddle in any way, that money goes to the app and the development of that app. And you know, the more money we've got, the bigger and better it can become. And I think it will be, you know, with all your support, we could make it a fantastic resource for free to schools. The idea would be free to schools, and then general public pay the £1 or £1.99 for it, to keep that legacy and to keep that app fresh and current and developing all the time. So yeah, that's what we're about at the minute. 6 days paddled, day after day in the wind. Everyone's cool. We're all stoked. It's awesome. Take care.